Sullivan. I'm a former IRS agent and teaching instructor with Internal Revenue Service. Welcome to my YouTube station. Today I'm going to be talking about IRS tax debt programs and which one fits you the best. As a former IRS agent, I was a revenue officer. I worked at IRS for a decade. I've worked thousands of cases. I've been in private practice for 40 years. I just shoot these videos at home. I don't need a script, a coat and tie, and all this fancy stuff. If you want to know a lot about me, you can see I've been on the national news at least 15 times. You can see all my videos at 777irs.com. I've been on stations like Fox, Business, ABC, The Briefing Room, CNN, NBC. No, not CNN. Anyway, I've been on a bunch of programs. I forgot how many I've been on. Anyway, I have a whole staff of former IRS agents on staff. That's enough about me. IRS tax debt forgiveness and what program works for you is all set up by your financial statement. I was a revenue officer. So I used to go out and put people in different programs. So just so you know, I'm a national expert in this. Whatever I say to you is gold. Everything is based on your current financial statement. So IRS has no way to evaluate everybody but look at the last 6 months. That's kind of what their goal is. They don't want to look ahead because they don't know what's going to happen. They're not going to look too far behind. So IRS uses the last 6 months as an indicator. So sometimes if I'm getting your case, I may want to wait another 6 months because that last 6 months was so good I may not want to call IRS. So this is what happens. IRS looks at your current financial statement. If it's a service center, they're going to look at a 433F. If the revenue officer is looking at it, they're going to look at the 433A. There's 3 programs that you're going to be put in once IRS looks at this. A, you can be put into a currently non-collectible, which means the word currently is important because they're going to put your tax liability in a hold for however they want to hold it and then bring it back at a later time, generally a couple years. They'll take your refund, but you can adjust that by changing your W-4. Penalties and interest is going to go still run, but at least your taxes will be suspended for that period of time. IRS may look at your financial statement and say, they can be put in a payment agreement because they have money at the end of the month to pay. Now, you may not think you have money to pay, but what you don't realize is when you call IRS, IRS has a national standards program, and they're not going to let you have the expenses you think you're going to allow. If you want to know what the IRS National Standards Program, I got a bunch of videos, but just know IRS has a national standard that they are going to tell you what you can spend for food and clothing, housing and utilities, your car payment, and how much they'll allow you to drive the car. They will dictate that. So even though you think you're maxed out, IRS may say you have $2,000 left over because they're going to use their program, their financial statement way they do that. The last thing you can do is settle your debt through the offer and compromise program. The IRS may suggest it, but they don't put you in that. You've got to apply for that. And you really need to go someone good like me or whoever. And I'd always use a former IRS agent before you use anybody because we really know the system. We know what they're going to do. We know how to work the program. I used to accept and deny offers and compromise. So I really know if you're not going to use me, look for former IRS agents who were revenue officers to go ahead and do this. But the offer program is specific. Don't just make a call and call a company because you see an ad. You're going to wind up speaking to a salesman, and there's a good chance that you're going to get ripped off. I am just telling you ahead of time. So what are the 3 programs? They're currently non-collectible, the offer and compromise, and the payment agreement, all based on your current financial statement. The whole key is making sure you file that financial statement at the right time and have someone analyze that and tell you when to file it. 2 other tips. Make sure your tax returns are all current and up to date. And if you're self-employed, make sure you're making an estimate payment. Thank you very much. I went over my time. Sorry about that. Anyway, if you'd give me a subscription, I'd appreciate it. If you want other subjects, you want to make a calendar appointment, do that. Tell me if you want another video on something. If you call my office, you speak to me. Thank you for the subscription.